Clarity on Fire, a podcast for people who know what they don't want out of their life and career, but aren't sure what they'd rather be doing.
In a world where it's easy to exist, but hard to feel alive, we, Kristen
and Rachel,
two certified life and career coaches, are here to help you cut through the information overload, get unstuck, and focus not just on how you can have a career you're passionate about, but how to create a whole life that feels fulfilling.
So join us here, where we serve up inspiration and down-to-earth wisdom in a way that only two best friends can.
We want you to experience the relief of knowing that, yes, you're allowed to want more out of your life and career.
And no, you don't have to wander through the dark anymore. Our job is to light the fire that shows you the way. Let's go.
Hello.
Hey.
So, this is not a vlog. It's not any kind of episode.
An announcement.
Well, no, it's a special episode.
Yes.
I just didn't want to call it a special episode because that would have made the title way too long.
Special episode.
So obviously, or maybe not obviously, we're doing this because today is the first day of a 10-day enrollment period that we're doing for one-on-one coaching. And I will get into that. We'll get into that later on in the episode. This isn't going to be a very long episode, I think. But you never know with us.
You never know. We'll try.
But I wanted to, for anyone, I think this is really helpful for anyone who's interested, not in just in coaching with us, but who likes listening to this podcast, and also who might want to know more about coaching and how it works just in general. Whether or not you actually want to be coached at this moment, this might help you understand the whole process better. And we don't really talk enough about the intricacies of the process.
This is part of what we talk to people about when we get to interact with them personally.
Yeah.
And explain coaching on a more one-on-one basis. But we figured it'd be helpful for a lot of you to know what we're going to get into today. At least the more high-level version of what coaching is really about, especially coaching with us. What is that really about?
Well, okay. So I called this episode Why Career Coaching Has Almost Nothing to Do with Your Career, and that's where I want to begin. So let me just say this for any coach you're looking at. Well, okay, I can't actually claim this for anyone other than me, but I'm telling you, this is kind of how it works with coaches. Or let me amend that, good coaches, because I can't speak for bad ones, nor do I want to associate with them. So coaching, if you're doing it right, is not actually contextual. I want you to think of it like a tree. Lots of different branches, they all share the same trunk, the same base. So you can start in any branch. You can start in career, you can start in the relationship branch, you can start in the friendship branch, you can start in the family branch.
Start in the health branch.
Whatever. And you can get to the same core trunk because that's really what all of those branches have in common. So,
and on the flip side of that, once you're clear on that core of who you are, again, the trunk, then that will spill out into all of the other branches. So even if you come in thinking, I'm going to come in and talk about my career and get direction in that arena, the clearer you get on who you are, that's going to affect every other arena. So when you think of it as that tree system, it's not just which branch you come in on, it's knowing that your entire life, all of the branches are going to be affected by the work that you do in coaching.
So let's talk about bad coaching for a minute.
Sure.
I wasn't intending to, but you know I like a good rant.
You have a whole system for that now.
I have a whole new platform for that if I want to. No. Well, I have ranted about this plenty of times. And so let me, for a second here, rant about this. What I think bad coaches do, and I will include under this bad career counselors, like the guidance counselors, even like the people you sat down with in college. And by
bad, let me just say, well-intentioned, but not necessarily the best.
Not very skilled.
Process. The best
Don't
experience.
have the best mentality or the best approach.
They might mean well, think that they're being helpful, but they're not being super helpful.
I mean, let's be clear. I don't think anyone gets into career counseling or career coaching or any kind of coaching and is like, oh, this is where my supervillain is gonna, I'm just gonna ruin all these people's lives. Like, they would probably aspire to greater heights if they were that much of a villain.
Probably so.
So no, they're usually well-intentioned. They're just not very good. Yeah. Or they don't have good training. They might be smart people who were not well educated or trained, and they just don't know what they don't know.
Sure.
So all of that is to say, when you sit down with someone who's not very good, if we're talking in a career context, though, you could apply this to any context. What's going to happen, likely, is they're going to be like, okay, you are unhappy in your work, so you want a new job. So let's look at like, what are you experienced in? And
what did you major in?
Yeah,
what is your work experience?
what did you like doing? What did you not like doing? And based on that, let's figure out what kind of job you might prefer. And then like, let's work backward through the process and work our way up to that goal. Like, let's backtrack, figure out what our goals are, and then crush those goals together, girlfriend. Did you want to barf? Because I do. So here's why that doesn't work. Because it's like, if we go back to the tree analogy, it's like, let's prune and like snap and kind of, you know, shear or whatever we do to a tree. We don't shear a tree, for God's sake. I don't know anything about plants.
We're mixing up sheep and plants.
Whatever. But it's like doing that for one branch and ignoring the other branches.
Rest of the tree, acting like that branch is its own tree, and it's not its own tree.
Right. It's part of a larger system. And so if you only focus on that, here's what's going to happen. You might get good results for a month or two. Like, they might very well help you find another job. But in 2 months or less, you're going to be right back where you started, because what you did not do was treat the deeper cause of what was afflicting you. And you are assuming that the job is the answer to what is afflicting you. And the job is almost never, actually, let's put it this way, never the answer to what is actually afflicting you when you come to career coaching.
Because if you just focus on getting a new job or pruning that one branch, then what's going to happen is you're going to bring all of the same stuff into the new job.
Yes.
You're not actually going to have checked in on a deeper level to say, is this aligned with who I am and what I really most want and what matters to me the most? Because you're just going to be doing the next most logical thing, or the thing that on the surface feels good, but you'll have all the same questions as you had in the last job. It might be new and novel for a little while and kind of exciting for that reason.
It'll be a good hit, you know?
Very soon, you're going to find yourself in the exact same place because you have not done the deeper work. And so you're going to repeat the exact pattern of where you just came from. That's how this works. We've seen it happen over and over again.
For those of you who are listening to this and might be rankled and might be like, no, Rachel, you don't understand. My job is the problem. And if I had a different job, my whole life would be a lot better and perfect. I don't think any of you think your life would be perfect, by the way. But I'm just talking to that one person who doesn't agree with me right now. And what I want to say is this. I'm not saying that your job isn't sincerely causing you misery, because I've been there. I know that that's true. I know the absolute hell of going to a job that you hate every single day. I also know that the job is usually the trigger point for all of the reasons why you're feeling so miserable. So let's just say you got a boss you hate, or you're having a really, really hard time and you cannot enjoy your job, partially because you and your boss don't get along. Let's not blame that fully on your boss. Do you want to know what might actually be happening? You might be taking your deep daddy or mommy issues to work with you, and that might be really afflicting your relationship with your boss and causing you to not be able to communicate properly.
Or you might be existentially questioning your entire purpose on why am I doing any of this? But it's so much easier to put all of your angst and your anger onto your boss. There's a clean cut back and forth that you can say, that is what is upsetting me. When really, what might be upsetting you is, am I even doing the right thing? Is this where I'm supposed to be? What is the point of anything?
Kristen and I were once listening to a speaker at a workshop, one of our favorite things to do, go to personal development seminars and that kind of thing, like real classic, predictable of us. This was some time ago. We were at this event. Oh my God, the dog is barking again. I'm going to keep talking. I'm sorry. You're just going to have to like deal with her. And if she gets really loud, I'll pause and go stop her. But anyway, we were at this event and this woman was talking about how her son was really depressed and he hadn't had a lot of luck in love. And he was a young guy. He was like in his 20s. And she just really sincerely wanted him to be able to find a really great relationship, and that would probably help him and make him happy. And I also think she wanted him to move out of her damn house because he was still living with her. And the speaker said, the last thing you should want for your son is for him to have a romantic relationship right now. And let me tell you why. Because given where he's at, his personal development, his mental health, his vigor and vitality in life, his lack of, knowing what he wants out of life, he is, because like energy attracts like energy, going to attract someone into his life who is exactly like him.
Mm-hmm.
And they are going to enable each other. And then she's going to move into your basement too, with him. Is this something you want? And the mom is like, oh my God, no. She's like, the relationship is not going to fix his issues. He has to be, and again, this is where I'm going with this. You can see where I'm going with this. You can only receive in life the relationship, the job, the whatever, the friends, whatever it is you're hoping will ease that existential ache and fill that void and make you happy. You can only receive the thing that you are qualified to receive in that moment. And by qualified, I mean, how healthy are you?
How clear are you on who you are and what you want?
How good of a match are you to the ideal thing that you want? Because that guy is not a match to the kind of woman who actually he would be able to have a healthy, happy relationship with. And a lot of you don't want to hear this, but I love telling you what you don't want to hear. So I'm going to do it anyway. A lot of you aren't yet a match to the career situation. I'm not even going to call it a job because it might just be a promotion, or it might be like a lateral move, or it might be starting a business. But a lot of you aren't yet a match to the career situation that is ideal for you. And until you do the work to help yourself become a match, no career transition you're going to make is going to help you, or is going to stanch the wound or ease your pain. Now, there can be a bridge sometimes, and we can get into that. Sometimes you can't go from 0 to 60. But the point is that you have to start doing the work to become the kind of person who is a match to the things that you most deeply want.
And in case you're like, why am I not a match? What's going on here? I will tell you some of the reasons why I find that people are not.
Ooh, how long do you got?
Quite ready.
I got a laundry list of reasons.
Which are also the things that we do in coaching.
Right, obviously. We're not going to give you this list and be like, you're screwed, sorry.
Right.
Like, this is a list based on what we then work with people to reverse and to heal and to move forward from in their lives.
Yes. So some of the things that might be the reason why you're not a match for the career experience that you're really wanting is because you might have a lot of confusion and self-doubt. Yep. So you might be looking at things and genuinely not being able to discern if that's going to be a good option for me.
That happens a lot with people pleasers.
Yep. Who
were trained to not have your own ideas or opinions, or to just care a lot what other people think. And not just people pleasers, but really a lot of us are trained to not focus on what we value or what our opinions are. And so we actually don't have a very good ability to make decisions for ourselves because we don't have that internal filter system.
That's so huge. Also, people who have been burnt out for a little while. Mm-hmm. You just don't have a lot of energy or emotion around things. What's hard to tell, is that a fit for me or not? Because everything sounds exhausting.
Everything
to
is
me
blah.
Right now.
Yes, everything feels blah.
And if you're ever going to get to a place where you feel resonance with the next right step of what you want to take in your career path or in any other area of life, you've got to start doing some of the work to heal the burnout. So that might be some of you. Mm-hmm. Some of you, everything sounds exciting and you have so many ideas and so many possibilities. And you're like, I could do this and I could do this and I could do this. And that is what's causing the inability to discern what's right, because everything seems like a cool thing. I guess I'll try that. I guess I'll try that. And you can't settle on anything. And that, again, has to do with not necessarily knowing what's best for you on the deepest level. Mm-hmm. You're looking at shiny objects. You're not looking at deep resonance.
Mm-hmm. Let's really just drop one of the biggest bombs of why people aren't good at, or aren't yet a match to the thing they want to be, is they're carrying around a crap ton of unhealed wounds and baggage.
Oh, yeah.
From childhood experiences, from family dynamics. And until you learn to reparent yourself and heal from a lot of the stuff that you're carrying around, then you can't really be a match to the best kinds of jobs or relationships or whatever it is that you want. Like, because again, you have a crutch or you have some sort of a thorn in your side that whatever job is going to keep poking at. And then even the perfect job might not actually be a good match for you if you haven't healed that baggage because it keeps bringing up all of your stuff.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely part of it.
Yes.
Along that same vein is old messaging that is making you think certain options are open to you and certain options are not open to you. So limited thinking in terms of I can do that or I'm not able to do that or people don't do that or that doesn't make any money. These just generalized beliefs that often came from family, but can also come from teachers. They can come through society. They can come through media that you have not examined yet. And so you are living in your own jail cell, essentially, because you're not looking past what you think are limitations that may not have to be. And we're really good at poking holes in those.
Related to that, just assumptions about what's going to happen in the future based on past failures. Thinking that because something happened once, it's going to keep happening. And so, like, why bother trying? That's another huge reason that people struggle to be a match to the thing that they want.
One more that's been coming up a lot recently for me personally and for a lot of my clients is going with how you are wired.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, first of all, don't really know how they work best, how they think best, their personality type, how just their wiring from how they came in on the planet is best suited to their working life, to their relationships, to their communication style, to their processing style. And so first there has to be these levels of recognizing this is how I function best. And then restructuring your life to match how you're wired instead of trying to constantly be going against the current.
And how you're wired can be a number of things. It can be whether you're an introvert or an extrovert. It can be your Myers-Briggs type. It can be your Enneagram type. It can be your passion profile.
It can be whether you're a hare or a tortoise, like we talked about last week.
Yep, in Kristen's blog last week. There are so many different ways that a person is wired, and they all are relevant. So think about the innumerable number of lenses that are like on top of each other that all kind of coalesce to be the unique you. Like, that's the lens through which you should be seeing. And that lens can be 15 lenses deep.
Yep.
And so, again, if you don't get clear on what those lenses are and clean them off, how do you even start to contemplate what you could be doing? So this is just a short list of the things that we work on in coaching. You know what another huge one is? Maybe the hugest. People don't have a connection to anything bigger than themselves.
Yeah. They feel like they have to figure it out. They have to do all the things. They have to clear the path for themselves.
Yeah, they don't trust that there's
100 steps ahead.
They don't trust that there's any bigger purpose or that things are working out for them. And this is a theme of this podcast in general, like this whole podcast, that a lot of our work is actually secretly, it's not going to be a secret if I say it out loud, but that's fine. It's secretly a spiritual experience wrapped up in a more logical, tangible package. Because...
And I'm going to toot Rachel's and my collective horn here by saying that we are really good at bridging that gap. I've seen a lot of experts in just the online space that are really, really good at the spiritual side of things. And I've seen other experts who are really good at the tangible how-to steps.
Yeah.
And
we do both really well.
both really well.
Yeah, we do. I'm not even going to lie.
I mean, that's just one of the things that I think stands out about us. And I'm going to...
Well, and I think this podcast stands as a testament to that. I'm going to brag about us. And so, like, I think I can back it up.
Yeah, we can back it up.
My whole backlog of episodes, 150 plus episodes, I think backs that up. But that's what we do in coaching, too, is we help you bridge the gap and give you tangible ways to do really, really deep, intangible feeling work.
Yep.
And all of that is what we have a structure for in coaching. All those things that we just said that seem like an amorphous cloud of things that we work on, we have, guess what? A linear, logical, structured process that we work you through week by week.
Seriously, guys, there's 4 steps. We take you, there's steps.
Big steps. And
I know some of you love having steps.
There's sub-steps, and assignments that are part of each of those 4 major phases.
There's a workbook for those of you who are real into the workbook thing.
So I like to say that the way that we take you through coaching is enough structure to help you feel free. Yes. Because too much freedom is actually not helpful. That's when someone sits down and they're like, what do you want to talk about today? And that might be fine in therapy, but it's not what coaching is for.
Because then you're like, if I knew where I was supposed to be going with this, I would have figured that out by now. I need some guidance to figure, and like...
And here's the thing. Knowing what you want to talk about today is not often as valuable as talking about what you should be talking about today. Know what I'm saying?
Exactly. You know, what's going to be serving you best to talk about today.
Your bitch fest of the day is not actually going to help you get clearer on your deeper value system necessarily. For example, so we're telling you, here's the overarching theme of what we're going to be focusing on for the next week or so.
Right. And we'll let you have a few minutes of the bitch fest if you need to.
Of course.
And then we're going to go into, okay, but what do we want to do longer term?
Right. We're focusing and holding the long-term vision and also giving you space to feel your real feelings and actually help you get to the point where you can feel feelings again in a normal, healthy manner so that like you don't get lost in the weeds of complaining about your daily life, which I think can happen. And I've experienced personally in other forms of coaching or therapy where it's just like, you know, the rant of the day, and it's not actually getting you closer to an end point or to a tangible goal. And so we're helping you work to a tangible goal, which might be getting a new job or being able to have a healthy relationship or moving across the country or whatever it is your major goal is. We're helping you figure that out and we're helping you work toward it, but we're helping you work toward it in a way that is also very emotionally intelligent. It's not so logical that there's no room left for spontaneity or that it's like, you have to listen to this. And if you don't do it, then I can't help you. It's more like...
And it's not even on a particular timeline. Like it's loose structure.
Loose structure. Enough structure to help you feel free.
If you need more time on certain steps, we take as much time as you need. If you're ready to move on to the next step, we move on to the next step. So we're very good at intuitively guiding you through that process, but there is a process. So you don't feel like you have to know what you want to focus on when you come in. All you have to know is, I'm not feeling as good as I want to, and I'm not sure what to do about it.
I have a new client who, on the info session we had, she said, and this is how I knew she was like an ideal client. She said, I want to relearn how to value my life. Oh, and I was like, you have come to the right place. Because at the end of the day, that is what real coaching is about. It's about helping you become the kind of person who is capable of valuing her life, knowing what that even means, like understanding what her deeper value system is and clearing off the gunk, you know, the crappy beliefs and the limitations and the fears and the shame and the guilt and the people pleasing and the family baggage and all of that stuff that clouds you, power washing that gunk off of you so that you can actually discern, what is my value system? What does fulfillment mean to me? What does it mean for me to experience my emotions in a healthy way? How do I make room for how I'm wired and change my life to reflect more of that? And when you do those things, when you become that kind of person who's capable of valuing her life, guess what happens? The perfect relationship, the ideal job is but at that point a matter of time.
Yes.
It's a given. It will happen because you will have risen to the level of being able to attract and maintain, not just attract, but keep the ideal career or relationship or family or whatever situation that you're gunning for.
And not only maintain it, because sometimes life is going to throw you curveballs. Sometimes things are going to get challenging and you're going to not know what to do in certain situations, which is why a part of what we do in coaching is help you build a very clear filtering system for any possibilities that you are considering, relationships that you are considering, places you're considering moving. How do I run anything I'm considering through a very personalized filtering system to see, does this fit me? Does this not fit me? And not just on a pro-cons list level. I'm talking about on the deepest level of who I am, what matters to me, and the kind of life that I want to be living. Is this aligned or is this not aligned? So when life throws you a curveball and shakes things up at any point in the future, you have that to come back to so that you can decide what's next. What's the right next thing for me? And you don't always have to jump back into coaching. It's not a great business model, but our job is to try to coach people out of needing coaches.
Yeah, I mean, obviously people do come back, but usually what they come back for is a deeper level or a whole nother, branch of the tree that they're struggling with.
Exactly. They're not coming back because all the things we talked about before are irrelevant in this new situation.
No, everything is still relevant.
So you
because,
can
again,
use that moving forward.
We coached you on the level of the trunk, not the branch.
Exactly.
So no, that work was not for nothing. And that work will sustain itself.
Yes.
Because it wasn't about what's going on right now on your branch. It's about what's going on a level where time doesn't really exist.
Yes. And it's true. Some people love coaching tune-ups. I love coaching tune-ups.
Sure, everyone needs it.
And yet it's not such I need this because I've lost sight of who I am.
That
anymore.
can happen with big things. I mean, that can happen.
Sure.
But it doesn't take long to remind them. I'll tell you
exactly.
that.
It is more of a matter of losing sight because you had clarity.
Yeah.
Like that's what we help you find is that clarity. And you might lose sight sometimes and you can either bring yourself back with some of the things that we teach you or, you can always come back for a little extra tune-up. But our goal is that you don't need chronic coaching.
No. Mm-mm. So one last thing I'll say is the difference between coaching and therapy. For those of you who have done both or haven't done either or have only done therapy, the easiest and most simple way to say it is that therapy is a very different process from coaching. Therapy is more intended for people who are in a dysfunctional state to help them get to a functional state. Coaching picks up where therapy is meant to leave off. It takes you from functional to optimal. Functional doesn't necessarily mean you're having a great time, though. Functional can mean I can go to work and get out of bed and I'm not so deeply depressed that I can't make myself a meal and function like a normal person.
Right.
But normal
I'm doing
people,
the adulting tasks, but that doesn't mean I'm loving life.
But normal people can be functional yet completely unhappy and unsatisfied. And from my experience of therapy personally, as well as my experience with other people who've been to therapy, both had good and bad experiences, what everyone kind of tends to agree on is that therapy doesn't have a tangible goal in the same way that coaching does. Therapy is much more of a meandering kind of very patient process of unraveling and visiting past wounds and helping you to heal them, which is a valuable process. And I think you'll find if you're ready for coaching, you might be unsatisfied with the fact that there's no momentum. There's not a lot of momentum in therapy. It's more of a
meandering
lazy
discovery.
It's a lazy river of discovery versus coaching, which is it has more acceleration and momentum and it's got a little bit more rapids to it. And there absolutely is we are taking you through a process to help you get to this particular point that you want to be at. And we're going to hit a lot of those same points that coaching does hit or therapy hits in that lazy river, but we're not going to spend quite as much time on them. And if we're revisiting something from the past, it's absolutely with the express purpose of helping you move forward. We're not just going to talk about it and keep bringing it up just to keep bringing it up.
Yeah. Like your distinction of therapy helping people move from some level of dysfunction to functional and coaching functional to optimal. Another way of thinking about that is therapy is much more focused on what happened. Coaching is much more focused on where are you going. So that's why there's more directionality to that. Now, we do use some of where you came from and who you are now.
You can't ignore it.
You have to have some context and you have to understand the stories that got you to where you are now. But it's always about where you're going.
So, okay, I said this would be a short episode. I lied because it's closing in on 30 minutes already. So, okay, all of that I hope that cleared up some things about coaching. And I hope that distinctly answered and definitively answered the question of why, when you come to career coaching, it has very little to do at first with your career.
At least career coaching with us. That's all I can speak to. And that's how we approach things. That's how we know it works.
Yeah.
We have been doing this for many years now. And this is I refuse to coach on the surface level, frankly. I refuse to coach on how do I get the right resume bullets to get this job
Kill
that
me
I
now.
just found.
No, not doing it.
We're going to coach you on the deepest human level, and all of the other pieces fall into place when you have that clarity and you've brushed away a lot of those limitations.
By the way, your whole life improves, not just your career. That's the best part, is that every area of your life is positively impacted.
Yep.
So if this is a process that you like the sound of and that you would like to get down with, or at least contemplate getting down with, then now is the absolute best time because starting today until next Friday, October 18th, we are going to be accepting, I don't even know what to call it because, it's a coaching enrollment period, but that doesn't mean you're just allowed to sign up. It means you get to sign up to talk to us about the possibility and make sure it's a good fit.
You get to raise your hand and say, I'm very interested in the possibility of working with one of you. And I recognize that you have slots available now. I would like to talk about taking one of those.
Yes. So we have about 20 to 25 available coaching slots at this moment. And we will not be officially taking on clients again until probably late March, which if you do the math is over 5 months. It's close to 6 months.
If you don't sign up now, you can join our wait list, but especially for a little while, we may not be able to talk to you right away.
Yeah, it'll be a couple months. So if you're interested in the possibility of coaching and now isn't the right time, but you don't want to wait until March, then there is a wait list and we will link to that and you can get on that. And if you at any time you find this episode and are listening later on, and it is between enrollment sessions or enrollment periods, then you can always add your name to the waitlist. And we will always reach out to let you know what our availability is like and when we might be able to take someone on. But now is the guaranteed time of we're going to take 20 to 25 people. If you would like to consider being one of those people, then you should get on our calendar and talk to us about it. And more details will be in the episode description. We have 2 lengths of coaching you can contemplate, 2 months and 5 months. There's a pretty big difference between those, to be honest.
Yes.
And coaching usually happens, just to run through some quick questions people usually have about coaching. Coaching starts out, at least for the first 6 sessions or so, being a once a week experience.
1 hour long call
we
each
need
week
to build momentum. And
we're working through that process that we described.
Yes. And then the longer you have in coaching, which is just this is just kind of normal across the industry. The longer you have in coaching, which is why 5 months is the ideal if you can do it. And we understand not everyone can, which is why we have a smaller option. But 5 months is the kind of gold standard.
Yep.
The reason that is because for the first half of coaching, that first 6 sessions or so, it is very much a lot of an intellectual experience. And it's very much you're learning.
You have to do
you're shifting.
You have to do the internal clarifying work before you can then go do the external implementation of what you just clarified.
Right. So the real accountability and action starts after the first 6 sessions of coaching. That's when you're really at a point where you're capable and ready to start applying what you're learning and the changes you're making to your life and then reporting back and seeing what happened. And so having that accountability while you do that is why coaching usually needs to be longer. But we wouldn't let people do it if we didn't know that a smaller amount of coaching is still very effective and much better than doing nothing. So we want you to know more about those. And so if you go to our site, you can see the little bit of a breakdown on the chart between those 2 things. But we talked to everyone individually about the difference between those 2 things when we have a call with them. So,
and there is some additional content, like we said, that
a lot of additional content
that we have you go through. So you'll be watching videos in between our calls as well. So just know that it probably will be about, 3-ish hours a week that you could commit to this, possibly more if you decide you want to put more into what you'll be doing in between sessions. But that's just to give you a little bit of a idea of time commitment.
We also do unlimited email support.
No, that's huge.
Which is really interesting because it's very different than having a live conversation with someone. You get to really think about what you want to say, and then we get to think about what we want to say. And so it really deepens and I think enriches the process of coaching and helps you process it on a much deeper level too.
It also makes you not feel like you're going it alone in between calls, and then you have to save everything up and tell us all on the call. You can be updating us. You can be
asking
for feedback.
Which I think is efficient too.
It is efficient. It is efficient. So you have access to your coach even between sessions. So for the entire time you're coaching, it's a really big part of it, actually.
So I think that there's probably other questions we could answer, but
if you have other questions, just leave us a comment on where this page lives on our website. We'll have a link to that in the episode description, and you can say, hey, you didn't answer this question, and we'll be happy to do that.
You can also email us too if you want, but don't ask questions unless you've actually gone and read the whole coaching page.
Yeah, we actually have a lot of questions answered.
Yeah, we have an
already
FAQ
on that page
as well. It answers questions like, what if I miss a call? Like the logistical type of questions that people always have. And do you work with people outside the US? The answer is
Yes.
yeah, anywhere. If you have Skype, we can...
Or FaceTime audio, or we can figure it out.
Zoom. Well, we can do it. We can figure it out. And no, all of our stuff is virtual, over the phone, not even video. I actually find video to be distracting.
I do too.
And not as helpful as just being able to hear someone. There is actual value in that, I think, being able to just focus on like what's being said.
Yes. Yeah.
And you don't, people are always wondering,
Otherwise,
do
you're
you
like,
miss people's facial expressions? I'm like, no, it's never hurt.
It's never
me.
been a problem. In
Never.
fact, I find that people on video will be like checking their hair. They'll be kind of like fidgeting.
Right.
And if you're just focused on what you're saying, then you can actually go a lot deeper.
You can
I have
also
found.
move around more when you're not on video. Which
Exactly.
I help because I like to pace when I coach sometimes. I like to move around, and you can't really do that if you're stationary at your desk on Skype or whatever.
Gets the thoughts flowing.
So, okay. So again, we're taking on potential clients between now and next Friday. You can fill out that form. As long as we get your form between now and next Friday, we'll get you on the calendar at some point in the next couple weeks to talk. And this is the right thing for you if you're looking to start coaching ASAP, which means in October or even like a start date in early November would be fine. So anytime within the next month or so. And any later than that, like if you're looking for something after November, then you can join the wait list.
Yeah. And you can just specify that in your form that you fill out for the wait list when you are interested in getting started.
Okay. So I hope that this was illuminating. I think it was. I think this is like one of the most in-depth conversations we've had literally just about our coaching philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
And I love talking about our
we
coaching
normally
philosophy.
just save this for one-on-one conversation. So I'm excited to be able to share this in a bigger context.
And we will see you on Friday with a new episode with a normal person, which is with one of my actually current clients. So like someone who has been going through coaching. She's funny because we were talking about the fact that this is actually like her third or fourth round of coaching. And so I was like, hey, do you want to explain why coaching actually has worked for you? And it seems like you keep coming back because it doesn't work. And we were laughing because it's not because it doesn't work, obviously. It's more because every time we come back, we have like a deeper layer of crap that we're getting to, which is fun and interesting.
Oh, yeah.
And so anyway, the topic of our conversation was more than just this, but the title of the episode is, I can't remember it off the top of my head, but it's something like expecting the perfect job to be your savior and getting over that. And I think what we talked about in this episode will plant a lot of seeds for why she was able to actually get over the need for, the job to be the knight in shining armor who swoops in and saves her from her misery, and how she let go of that and how she let go of her need to control everything and went from basically like having no idea where her career was going to 6 weeks later, fully formed idea, implementing it like completely 180 in the teeniest period of time. It was amazing.
Oh, I love it. Well, this is like the perfect preliminary conversation for that then.
So yes, we will see you on Friday. I've never released a podcast on a Thursday.
Where did
so I don't know where
Thursday
that's
come
coming from. Anyway, we'll see you on Friday with that.
See you then.